welcome everybody to the PETLANTA podcast. I'm your host, Wayne.
I'm Lita.
And then we have Orazie Cook. She is the owner and founder of Praline's Backyard, as well as Praline's Foundation. Or is it Backyard Foundation?
Praline's Backyard Foundation, yes.
Praline's Backyard Foundation. There we go. So before we get into us, we want to make sure we give our guest here the floor and just go ahead and explain who she is and just let us know about Praline's Backyard.
Yes,
okay, highlight yourself.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. My name is Orazie Cook, and when you just said, I am the owner of Praline's Backyard and Praline's Backyard Doggie, Daycare, and Boarding, and Praline's Backyard Foundation. And so Praline's Backyard, how do I talk about myself? Let's see. I have a 20-year career in public health and a 20-year career in volunteering at domestic violence shelters and at humane societies here in Atlanta, because I'm an Atlanta native, born and raised, born at Grady.
Right.
And so I just had a passion for giving back. My mom always taught us to give back whenever we do, and so part of Praline's Backyard and providing daycare and boarding. Right now we're just providing dog walking and adventure hikes, but we want to expand in 2023 to more than that, to include boarding and daycare. And part of Praline's Backyard is the foundation. The foundation will house pets and domestic violence survivors while they're in traditional housing. Because we recognize one of the barriers for survivors for leaving unhealthy living situation is not knowing who's going to care for their pet. And some people really will stay behind an unhealthy living condition because they don't want to leave their pet, or they're concerned about how the abuser will abuse their pet or do something harmful to their pet as a way of getting back at them. And so Praline's Backyard wants to be a safe haven for survivors' pets. While they take care of themselves, we get to take care of their pets. Gotcha. And so that's a little background about me and about Praline's Backyard.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, we see it a lot. We see a lot of people who are afraid to leave their dogs with certain people, you know, and one thing that people don't realize is that it can even be your spouse. Like, it could be your parent, it could be your sibling, you know, and I know your cause with everything, I mean, it's for survivors of domestic violence or if they're in that transition period, but this goes for all pet parents too, you know. It's just being careful with who you leave your pets with. So providing a safe space for those pet parents is definitely imperative to their health and pet parents' happiness.
Exactly, yeah.
You know? So I mean, how did you get into everything? What got you into being just such an advocate for, you know, just safety or survival after domestic violence?
Yeah, I definitely want to know that too, because that was going to be my next question. Like, because that's a very targeted niche, you know, of people that are suffering, and especially people that are suffering with their pets. So what made you so like passionate about helping those specific people?
Well, from my own lived experience, which I'm going to choose not to share that in this moment, but definitely just seeing the benefit of having a pet in my own home growing up and how comfort it provided me. Then I went on later on when I was in grad school here in Atlanta and then volunteering at the Domestic Violence Center. I just learned a lot of people left or they really struggled with leaving, and really even when they were in the shelter, they're really so concerned about their pet. And so I saw that continually, but I didn't have a voice to what I could do with that information. So I just continued my career in public health, and then honestly in the midst of COVID, as we all probably contemplating our life choices of what can I do differently and just different situations, I said, how can I create something? I have the time, and I really got on this entrepreneurial spirit thanks to Rachel Rogers, who's an excellent author. And it's like, what can I do that it combines my love of animals and my love of giving back to the community? And Praline's Backyard was born out of that, just that passion. And so that's how I got it.
Okay. Wow, yeah, that's really awesome. I mean, that's amazing. I think, you know, like we both said, that whole thing of pet owners already being scared about leaving their pets with someone they don't know is one fear, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So, you know, I can only imagine when it gets to that type of level of situations where it's like not only including you, not only including your children, but you got to worry about your fur babies. And I had a couple friends that actually groomers that I know that was in situations like that. And one of the main things that they were saying is like, I got 2 big old dogs, like nobody can, you know, like take my pets, you know, and I'm in this situation, you know, so.
Yes, no problem. I forgot what we were talking about.
That's good. I think we should highlight that too, because I mean that's the one thing that I personally loved about Atlanta when I moved here is that you get to see Black people in professional settings, you know, and I grew up in Hawaii, so it was definitely like a lot of Polynesians and Asians. So just coming here was a huge culture shock. And it inspired me as an entrepreneur to do more and represent for, like other little black girls that might be wanting to come into the pet industry, because there's not a lot of us.
Yeah.
So, and Atlanta's one of the places where there is more than usual, but yeah, a lot of other places don't have that.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that. Growing up in Atlanta, I didn't even know that wasn't the normal, because I grew up I went to John Hope, which is next to the King Center. So I always saw a lot of people, African Americans, of prominence. It was nothing for me to see Andrew Young at the time. He was the mayor of Atlanta back in the day. I'm kind of old. And so I just seeing all these people was like normal for me, but that's not really normal in other cities. I didn't know that probably until I went away to grad school or just later on in life. And I was like, oh, this isn't normal. Because I had friends, you meet friends in college and they come from everywhere like, oh, yeah, you have a black mayor, you have this. I'm like, yeah, this is not, are the church, everybody's black? Yeah. So, but it's stuff like that.
It's a culture shock for people. They're like, wow,
Yeah, definitely.
And so originally I'm from New York, and I moved down to Georgia in 2005.
Okay.
So coming from up north and then living down south, that's already a culture shock in itself.
Right.
But as I, just have grown up in Atlanta, it's so, like you said, refreshing, and it's like we went to a podcasting workshop. There was, just the amount of African American entrepreneurs that are willing to, just be around each other and network and just uplift each other, and grow
share
with
information.
Each other.
Right.
Yeah.
That whole movement in itself is amazing, and I mean, it's a culture shock there too, because you're in so many spaces where so many people think, especially in the pet care industry, they feel like they have to be in competition with each other.
Right.
Yes.
And in order for us to be the best, do the best, you got to be number one. You got to compete with the next person, and it's like, you don't have to all the time. You can still encourage and motivate the next person. And it's like, just being in Atlanta, I see more of that here than anywhere else that I've traveled. And I'm just grateful to be here for it.
I'm glad you're here. And along those same lines about competition, I think it's important that people recognize we both could all be groomers, right? We all gonna groom differently, and our personalities will be different with pet parents. So there's enough dogs in Atlanta for all of us to deal with the same group of people. And there's no competition, because we all have our own different style and our own personality. Because we all drawn, not everybody can be drawn to my sarcasm. Because you might not like me, because I'm pretty quick to you. I'm okay. So
same for me.
So you may not like me, and it's okay. You can go to Wayne. He's probably not as sarcastic as I am.
To myself, I'm not gonna say that. To myself, I'm gonna say it to me, but I have to be okay, can I say that out loud?
My face gives it away. You can't deny my face. It's just okay.
Wayne is a sweet groomer, but then he knows how to handle dogs. Because it's don't forget, he was a vet tech for years, so we know how to me and him are both RDTs, so we know how to hey, sit down. We're not afraid to do that. When a lot of other groomers are. So I think I agree with you. We say that there's 1 million dogs in Atlanta. There's 4.3 million people in Atlanta alone. So it's there's no way that we all can groom every single dog. And I might not be available, but Wayne's available, but you're available. And I don't mind pushing business off elsewhere, because the larger it gets, the more recognition that we bring to other businesses, and especially if they see us partnering together. I think there's power in that, and we saw that even with what Brian does with Pup Relief Tour, traveling and helping these dogs during COVID, we came together and really made an impact, and it spread it everywhere. So I think that's just something we're really trying to, especially with this podcast, trying to shine light on, just partnering together and supporting each other,
Definitely.
Yeah.
So about boarding and walking and hiking.
Okay.
How does that go? Because trying to get people to hike with their dogs or let me hike with their dogs.
Well, I hike with my dog all the time, and I was my friend's dog. So I was I still do this, but I'm not doing it as much anymore, adventure hikes at least. But I used to do it all the time with my friends. Oh, I can do my dog hiking with you? Sure. I didn't mind. I was this is a business. People get paid to do this. So I'm it's a business. So people will actually do something for free. I'm oh, how can I monetize this? Because,
that's me.
I don't mind, but it's after a while, it's even now a friend of mine is going out of town tomorrow, and she asked me to keep her dog. I'm because the daycare canceled, and I was okay, let me see, let me check with my husband. And it's am I going to tell her the cost? You know, I don't, because normally I'll be like, oh, cool, whatever, and she'll give me something. My thing is not, it's not about the money. I'm not doing it for the money. But at the same time, people recognize, oh, well, you love dogs.
Right.
Yeah, I love dogs, but I also like to get paid.
Exactly.
So
For real.
so I have to like, because as I'm transitioning into the business part of Praline's Backyard, because my friends all know they keep their dogs or whatever we need, I'm here because I'm home or whatever.
Yeah.
But now it's like, now I'm in a business, so I'm having to change their mindset, and really change mine too, that I'm not doing this for free anymore.
Right.
This is part of the business now, so how can I train my friends to know, you can do a review on Google for me, thank you so much.
Right, exactly, support my business.
Absolutely. So like when I first started out, I was like that too. I was like, okay, at that point I'm still like figuring things out, so I'm taking on all of the clientele. Oh, you know, this is expensive. Okay, let me work with you, you know, type of thing. And then as time goes on, and then you realize, okay, these people are taking advantage of me.
Yes.
Then you're like, no, I gotta put my foot down.
Exactly.
Like, no more discounts. I can't pay my bills off of discounts. I can't. If you think that you can ask for one, if I don't offer you one, don't ask for one.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, type of thing.
That
And it's just
part.
like, I am a business owner. Like you have to change the mentality that this is not charity work or a hobby, but this is actually my business. Like this is a career. This is what I'm, you know, paying my bills and eating off of. You know, so when you ask for a discount, that $10 that I took off for your bill reluctantly, you know, could have been bread and some juice and water, my sandwiches for the next week or something like that, you know. But people have to realize that, you know, you have to respect us as business owners, because a lot goes into it. I mean,
it's so much, you know, like it's so much. And I was just actually talking to another one of my groomer friends this morning, and I was just like, you know, sometimes it really like grinds my gears that people look at our industry as a hobby, you know, and it's like, I made multiple six figures off of my business. There's nothing hobby about that. You know what I mean? So it's like I've had over 200 dog walkers and pet sitters. At one time, before COVID, I owned pet sitting companies in 3 different states. You know, so there's nothing hobby about that. And it's like, I need you to respect me. I need you to pay me accordingly, like you said, you know, like, if I'm going to do, you know, nonprofit work and I'm going to support, you know, any rescue or nonprofit, definitely support them. But if I'm not, and you're trying to pay me for boarding, dog walking, and pet sitting or grooming, you're going to have to respect my mind and pay me for those services, you know, because of my experience. You know, we've been in the industry for over 13 years now. So, yeah, it's just that part really, I have to, like, be checking my attitude, you know, because I be like, it's not a hobby, you know?
I think even you have to train yourself, because we have to train ourselves how we respond. Like even my mom would remind me, she said, well, you're going to tell them because this is a holiday weekend, so and it's last minute. She was telling me, you need to do this at my, okay, I was thinking I would just do something minor, so I just do it with friends, you know what I mean? My mom said, my mom had to remind me how to train people how to make sure I get paid. And so that's the mindset I have to do myself.
I was gonna say, like even with holidays, I usually still charge the same. But like now I'm getting into no, I need to tack on $10 more. Like it's the holiday season. I gotta, you know. But
they spending money, they can spend it on you.
They will.
I gotta pay my bills and my gifts too.
They spend $1,000 plus probably on a flight during the holiday season.
Exactly.
So with your boarding, I saw that it's enrichment board or enrichment daycare. What is the enrichment part? Because even that's, you know, extra. You know, because a lot of people, they just board their dogs or put their dogs somewhere, so they get out, they go out a few times, they may have playtime, but you actually have enrichment care.
Yeah, definitely. So the enrichment, daycare, and boarding, and also cage free, we can get to that later. But the enrichment part of it is our dogs are so smart, right? And so just like when you go send a kid to daycare and they just play around all day, we need a learning atmosphere to this. And so if I have your dog all day, I believe I need to teach some enrichment activities. Like even my dog now, Praline, she does enrichment activities. Her food is not in a bowl. She has to like go through like, what do you call it? Like treat drawers, different kind of activities to get to the food.
Gotcha.
And so it's like, it's teaching her like how to teach her scent. It's teaching her movement of her paws. It's giving her movement, like exercise, making her work for her food. Because animals used to work for their food. And so when we're having her work for her, she's exercising, she's getting bored, she's getting tired. Like she has one that's really complicated. So when she gets tired of moving her paws, she'll stop eating. So that means she's really not hungry. So it's like if we had to work her off, we'd probably eat less too. So
this is true.
It's the same thing with dogs. It's like teaching her how to learning an activity, working on her scent smells, and it tires her out. So when she eats, she's tired out from doing all this smelling and moving all these trays around. Let me lay down. Let me rest. And there's a lot, give them all that excess energy. And I've been doing enrichment activities with her since she was a puppy. So she know they get a lot of that puppy energy out. And then they're more chill dog as they continue to grow. Because you continue doing enrichment activities.
Yeah, I went over and pet her and just said hey to her, and she was just like, hey, I'm here. I'm my mama's road dog. I cover her and everything. I'm the reason. And I was like, you're the reason for the season. Like the whole business is named after her. She's a beautiful girl. Now, do you have the bowl or the enrichment that you recommend? Because we get a lot of people who ask about things like this.
I like Outward Hound. She has every Outward Hound by Nina Oatson enrichment toy. And Kong is getting into it. Actually, I just did a Kong toy yesterday. But yeah, definitely Nina Oatson Outward Hound. They're excellent. Yeah, they have a couple of them at PetSmart, but mostly get them online. So at Amazon.
We'll check that out.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that. That's very important because I do boarding as well, and I think a lot of pet owners, they just don't understand the importance of enrichment and keeping their dog busy. Like that's so important because dogs will just they'll get into stuff.
Exactly.
They'll be bored.
So the baseboards, your shoes, everything.
Especially working dogs. You're like, oh my goodness, that husky, I just had to board. Goodness save me. Because they don't do nothing with them. So I that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. And I'm here a chance to look at it, but also I have created the whole template of what Praline and how will work in terms of their daytime activities. It's going to also be enrichment and agility. Because I believe that also the exercise and getting the husky, they need to move around. Because so often they're sitting in an apartment or a house all day, they go outside in the backyard, run around for a second or two, and then you have to have enough energy to engage them. Like,
that part.
I'm tired of working on it. I don't have time for them to be exercising too.
You're exhausted.
So definitely giving them agility. And also as to why dog daycare and boarding is important to get a lot of energy out. So,
definitely.
So, so you said you're cage free. Why cage free?
Because Praline in particular, she has a lot of anxiety in a cage. I never put her in a cage growing up. But she would, whenever I put her into boarding, she would have like her, in between her paws, it would be like licked away. It was just like she's been licking the entire time I've been gone. She has just skin infections, a whole bunch of issues. Whenever I go out of town, I'm coming back to a vet bill.
Gotcha.
And so it was just like, I used to go out of town a lot before COVID. I'm starting to go back out of town now. And it was just like, I hate it. Because I felt so bad I'm having to leave you. And then I'm coming back to a vet bill, and I know you had a horrible time while you were here. And I would buy the suite with the TV, everything. We would buy the highest scale. So then, but it's still a cage. And so I had the opportunity to put him into a home-based daycare boarding facility. The person they were boarding in the dogs in the home, which is awesome. And so, but she would do just pat. There was just like 4 or 5 dogs, and they was all staying in a room. And when I came back, she had no problems. I was like, oh wow, this is the problem.
And so she needs more of a homey environment.
Yeah, a homey environment because she's not used to a cage at home. And it's like she's stressed out because I'm not there. And then she's like, then I'm in this space by myself. And so it's like, but if she's like with somebody, with other dogs, and with somebody that can interact with her, no stress. And so I was like, but then we moved out to Snellville. I moved out to Atlanta, and Snellville, different location. And I could not find anything close by that was cage free or any kind of home base. That's probably not, I really don't know Snellville area that much. But then I was like, no. So I was like, we gotta create something. And that's what I came up with. And it has to be, whatever I do has to be cage free.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
And I recognize not every dog is trained to be cage free. We did recognize that we all comes with different trauma or whatever. So definitely an assessment will be part of that cage free environment as well.
Okay. No, I like it because like you said, it's a stressless environment. And being, as much as you can take away that stress of either, because it's already stressful that they're away from their parents or home. So anything that you can to alleviate that anxiety or that discomfort makes their stay better and makes them feel better, like Praline. So
definitely.
I definitely commend you on that because I know it's a handful. Like even with like daycare, like we have a lot of dogs that we let run around and we kind of let them, because we tried the whole like not putting them up and letting them kind of roam. But then it's a lot that comes with it too. You got to constantly keep an eye on everybody. You got to make sure that they don't get into anything. You got to, when they're quiet, you're like,
something's going on.
Something's going on.
Are they looking at each other crazy? Right. And you're like, yes, definitely. All that is so true. And I love that the fact that you mentioned people wanting to board their dogs at veterinary clinics. Because us both being registered vet techs, we worked in clinics for a long period of time. And people don't understand, like, yes, that is your vet, and you're in your mind, you're probably thinking like, this is the best environment for my dog because if something happens, here's the doctor. But from another standpoint, from your dog's perspective, it's not.
It's fear.
Because it's like we're running around as the nurses and the doctors, we're running around trying to care for the dogs coming in for appointments or drop-offs, dogs that are sick and not sick. Honestly, we're not thinking about the dogs in the boarding, but the boarding area, we're not. And when they do, it's like scheduled times, like, oh, okay, shoot, I have to go let out this dog and let him pee and then come back and feed him. It's like scheduled time, so they're really not getting that one-on-one interaction that they're used to at home. So I love that, and that was the formation of kind of how I wanted to do it too, is because like there was a lot of I was working with a lot of military, and a lot of them were, stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home wives. The dogs are used to somebody always being at home, the kids, whoever. So if I boarded them in the cage, they were freaking out. If I put them upstairs by themselves or downstairs by themselves, they were freaking out because they weren't used to it. So that anxiety, that separation anxiety is real, and people don't understand that. It's a real thing.
And I'm glad you mentioned that too. So I try to explain with pet parents too. Anywhere that you take your dog, they remember it, because it's a habit essentially, something that you do over and over. So like when dogs come here, I encourage them to come for happy visits. It doesn't always have to lead to a bath, because some dogs are reluctant to come in. Like, oh, those are those people that always put me in the tub.
I'm always
getting wet.
Exactly. I don't like that. So getting them to understand, like, come for a happy visit. Just come in, sit up there. We'll give them treats, some love, let them roam around, and then 5 minutes out of your day, then they could go. But that just builds up, the relationship with them. So like even with the vet, like boarding at a vet clinic or a hospital, this is the place that they're always poking and prodding me. I wake up and I lose a body part.
Something happened. I feel so different.
Missing.
Like you gotta think about things like that too. Like these places can be a little bit traumatizing. Always finding people or a person or place that your dog vibes with, and they are happy to go, and they're always wagging their tail when you pick them up, things like that. And I love that the cage-free part of it provides that, because they remember it. They remember the enrichment. They remember, being able to kind of wake up, do what they want to do, and they don't feel stressed being in, a cold cement kennel or something, or a suite or something like that. They're getting that one-on-one interaction. So kudos for providing a great place for pets.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask real quick,
Sure.
You have a whole team behind you.
I have a team, I do have a team. I do. Part of it is my family, because I mentioned earlier that I have like 2 family members that are vets, came out of Tuskegee, and my family's from Tuskegee, so I've always been around dogs and animals of every sort, and having vets in my family. And so, what was your question? My team. So part of my team is my aunt who's a vet and my cousin who's a vet. And then I have people that have done doggy daycares across this country, because I was getting into a business that I'm very much don't know about a lot of it. I know about in terms of using it, not in terms of the business operation of it. You can give me a business, give me a public health issue I want to deal with in Southeast Asia. I can do that all day long. However, tell you how to run a doggy daycare well, successfully in Atlanta might be a little challenge. So but I'm all about getting the support as I have. So I have a consultant to help me with that. I have a social media person to help me with that, because I don't know social media. I got on Facebook back in the day, in college, which was over 20 years ago, and probably haven't really messed with it seriously since then. And then I've introduced to TikTok, as I mentioned to you earlier. So I'm learning about social media with a lot of people. So definitely have a team of that's creating this.
Good, because the last thing we want is people to think that you're doing this by yourself.
Oh no, it's a team of people, because I don't know everything, and I tell people I don't know what I don't know. So y'all can tell me what I don't know.
Gotcha.
So because you all wrote the rumors, it's like I've heard some grooming stories. I didn't even know how bad grooming was. So
we're
gonna get into that.
That's a whole other podcast.
I didn't even know about it, because when I moved to Snellville in the midst of COVID, and so I moved from went from my regular groomer. I was on a book every 4 weeks for the last 10 years. Praline, I had dog practice before that. I said, let me venture out to somebody else new. And so, and if you know Cocker Spaniels, you know they're very sensitive to their ears and their paws.
Yeah.
And she told me, well, you know, the new one I tried. So why don't you give her a little sedative next time before she comes? I was like, yeah, no, you're not the groomer for us.
Yeah.
So now I drive an hour to come into the city every 4 weeks to get groomed. So I was like, yeah, no.
No, it makes sense.
So,
Now I do get it. I get it 100%. From a groomer's point of view.
Oh gosh, of course, no line.
From a groomer's point of view.
So Wayne is a nice one.
No. So I definitely get it. Like we try to exhaust, and I can't speak for everybody. I can't. Of course, I can't speak for everybody. But being that I have a vet tech background, we try to exhaust, or at least me, and the groomers that I have with me, each option before we recommend medication. You know, because we understand some dogs react out of fear, other dogs react out of trauma, other dogs react because they just act out, and then they, and sometimes it can be other pet parents' fault that when you try to comb your dog or brush your dog or touch their feet and they react, it's kind of met with, okay, I'm gonna stop. You know, and then that
You're training them.
That teaches them, like, okay, every time I try to bite you, if you try to touch my feet, you know, then you're gonna stop. And then when we try to do it, then it's like, ooh, you know, like we can't stop. Like we have to. I mean, we can, but we are trying to get it done. So it's like, I get it, but I don't think right off the bat medication is always the option.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just training and positive reinforcement. Like, hey, like, this is not a bad thing.
Right.
You know? This is not a bad thing that we're doing to you. We are actually trying to take care of you. You'll feel a lot better afterwards. But that just comes with constantly doing it. So I'm happy that you found somebody.
Oh yeah.
I was going to recommend Happy Heart.
And I would, if I didn't have this long relationship with her current groomer, I would have no problem. I definitely would.
Right.
But I think also it's important, I should have mentioned this as well, part of Praline's backyard goal is to be fear-free, which means not control any anxiety or stress when it comes to coming into a facility. And so when the groomer told me medication, I just thought, yeah, no, because you haven't exhausted all ways, such as treats, such as other ways to motivate her to get the behavior that you want.
Right.
And so it just told me that she was not trained at the level that she needed to be to handle a dog that's not all happy every time they get groomed. And so that's what.
I always tell people, I'm like, all right, even if you got to get one of those suction cups and put peanut butter on.
Exactly. I'm like, yes.
There's so many methods, you know what I mean? And there was times that, you know, I was in a small little area in Virginia, and I was the only person that could like trim this dog's nails. You know, even their vet told them, next time you come in, you better use tramadol, like basically tranquilize their dog in order to get them to cut their nails. And it was just me and the 3 family members, and we're on top of this pit bull, and we're like getting the dog's nails cut. Because I'm like, you don't have to sedate them. Sometimes you just gotta show them who's in charge. Because the thing about us is we're going to, when I'm clipping that nail, they're gonna do this, they're gonna pull back, but I'm gonna be like, no, you know, like, give me your paw, and I'm training them, no, I don't care how much you pull, I don't care how much you scream, I don't care how much you do that, I'm going to make sure that you get it done, because at the end of the day, I'm always thinking about the betterment of the pet, you know, like the pet situation, so I have to also train the owner, you know, like, hey, because I'm like, no, let's just stop. I'm like, no, I have to sit the owner down. No, I'm not going to stop. You know, because we're now going to let him know that he's going to react like this, and we're never going to get it done. Now his fingers are hurting, you know what I mean? His paws are hurting because he's walking around on too long of nails, you know? So, and then it's like, also, pet owner, it's kind of your fault because you waited this long. You know, it's like that, you know? So it's kind of, it's like education around it, and I think that that's very important, and staying consistent with your grooming. So great job, pet parent, you know, you're staying consistent with your grooming and letting them know that we're not trying to punish you, we're just trying to take care of you, you know what I mean? Because that's what the dog's thinking, like, you're punishing me, why are you doing this to me? If they see that person every 4 weeks, they're like, oh, okay, they're not trying to kill me, it's just a thing, you know what I mean? So that's really good that you're consistent.
Talking about goals, of course I had to do my due diligence.
Of course.
Our goal with Praline's Backyard Foundation is to raise $5 million by asking 10 million people to donate $5.
Well, no, actually, I want the goal. You're kind of right. So it's to educate 10 million people on the barriers of domestic violence, persons experience when they try with pets experiencing and trying to leave an unhealthy living condition.
Okay.
And so I figured educating 10 million people to represent 10 million people that are impacted by domestic violence every year in this country.
Gotcha.
And then I thought of that 10 million, just 1 million, I need to donate $5, and that will equal the $5 million needed to build Praline's backyard,
Okay.
part of the foundation as well. So,
Makes
yeah,
sense.
that was that.
Because I know you want to have the a actual facility.
Yeah, a physical facility, yes, yes.
Wow.
So a physical facility to house pets with domestic violence survivors, and part of that is building the building itself. So,
Gotcha.
mhm.
I
Gotcha.
love that number. Like, I love that you're being so bold with that number because
Yeah.
I feel like so many rescues and foundations are so afraid of asking for money.
Yeah.
And it's like, without the money, that's not going to push the cause. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I just love that.
And my idea was to really, because obviously I could go to the bank, and we still will, may, I'm hoping not to as much. But in a sense, if I really wanted to build Praline's Backyard as a community effort, that's why I wanted to educate 10 million people. And just get
Right.
1 million and get $5. I'm not asking you to give $25, $50. I think $5, if everyone contributes, it's like, I helped build this with just my $5.
Right.
It's like,
right.
I think it's a powerful idea. And I
It's a
figure,
community effort.
yeah, exactly,
Right.
community effort. And then it's like, when I look at TikTok and I see like 20 million views or likes on something so stupid.
Right.
Like, are you serious?
Each of those people.
Yeah, just donate $1. I mean, $5. It's just $5. Like,
Right.
you just
Yeah.
spent your time, your 2 or 3 minutes time watching this video that's just on something so stupid.
We
Right.
gotta
Like-
get you to do some of the TikTok dances.
Right.
Oh no, I have no rhythm. I know no music. Trust me, my husband be like, I know no songs. Play something, I have no idea who's singing. But yeah, I just really think that because when I looked at TikTok before I got on it, I was like, this would be a great platform because they're like 50 million users a day.
Okay.
I only want to get to 10 million,
That's it.
Right.
and I only want to roll over 1 million to donate $5. I just have not mastered the TikTok.
I got you.
So I just need to master that. Like, I don't know what resonates with people. Like the music, I can't really do stupid because I'm just not that. I'm just not
That's
there.
not who you are.
Not-
No,
I can do
understandably.
tricks with Praline, and we can do something cute.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I
You know,
got nothing.
everybody loves puppies, so I think
Puppies,
He loves
yeah.
dogs.
if Praline is adorable.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Thank
we
you.
got-
So I just continue to hope. I tell people all the time, and I mentioned about you can also donate, but also I told people not everyone is in a position to donate $5. We all have different situations, but everybody, when you're on social media for hours at a time, you're in a position to like, share, and comment.
Yeah.
And as you're doing that, you push up the video and higher up in the algorithm,
Yeah.
and that gets the video in front of somebody who may be able to give $100 or
Right.
$1,000.
Yeah.
So definitely know there's power in your liking and your posting and commenting.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely.
So where can
Yeah.
everybody find you?
Definitely. Praline's Backyard Foundation.org is where you can donate to Praline's Backyard. If you want dog walking, go to pralinesbackyard.com. And then in the fall of 2023, preferably will be open so you can do dog boarding and doggy daycare, cage-free, and enrichment daycare and boarding in fall 2023 in Snellville, Georgia.
Gotcha. Not prayerfully, will be.
Will
Will
be, yes,
be.
yes,
Will
will
be.
be. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank
Will
you so
be.
much. So if you're listening to this, I need 10 million followers. So make sure you share this
Make sure
podcast.
you guys follow her.
Yes, like,
Yes.
share, subscribe,
Yes.
and all that.
All of the above.
Thank you, yes.
No problem. All right. Well, what?
One more thing, just because I would never present Praline's Backyard Foundation without also reaching out to people that maybe they know of a domestic violence situation, they need assistance, so definitely call the domestic violence hotline at 1-800-799-SAVE or 1-800-799-7233. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Beautiful.
thank you.
Well, my name is Wayne again.
I'm Lita.
And Lita. We are your hosts of the PETLANTA podcast, where we give all of the business owners or small business owners, whether it be in the pet care industry, pet sitting, grooming, training, dog walking, chef, pooper, scooper, whatever
We
it is.
don't care what you do with dogs or
But
cats.
in the pet care industry, we want to give you a highlight, shout out, and just let you go ahead and share your story just so that the community knows what you're doing to give back or work with other pets and just make the livelihood of pets best that they can, you know. So we want to thank you for joining.
Thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. So make sure you guys follow us at Pet Atlanta or PETLANTA Pros.
Yes.
Because we have Facebook, Instagram also. Do we have TikTok? I can't remember. Do we have TikTok?
We do have a TikTok.
We have
No,
TikTok
no,
too.
no.
We will be working on that, and we gotta maybe talk to her, social media team. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure you guys follow. Have
Gotcha.
a great, awesome day.
Thank you again.
Thank you all so much. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.